UltraPerform show, the show about performing your best in business and life. Today I have Leta Greene, who's speaking about embracing your inner hotness in life on our show, UltraPerform show. Thank you for being on, Leta.
I'm excited to be here. You guys have a very professionally run thing. It was easy to know where to be and when to show up. It's well done.
You know, that's taken a few episodes to get to that.
That's good. That's good.
Thank you very much. It's good to hear. One of the things I always talk about is wherever you're at and working your way up. And that's exactly what I've been doing for sure.
Always improving and absolutely. Well, it was good. It was slick. Slick.
So my first question I wanted to ask you, you said I don't remember exactly, but you beat everyone at arm wrestling at the age of 12 in the Boy Scouts?
Yeah. Yes, that was my early distinction. My first prize was being the winner of the arm wrestling competition at the Boy Scouts. Mm-hmm. So not just the girls. No, I beat all the boys. And as I joke, that none of those boys ever asked me out. So if you beat a boy in an arm wrestle, you have to really decide, where you want the relationship to go, because that ended it.
So why was that? I'm guessing that's important.
Well,
how does that propel into your life and what you're doing now?
Now I'm a makeup artist and a speaker and author. And so most women who are in the beauty industry are, there's a certain stereotype of sequins and glitter. And I came from my dad being a truck driver. My brother is a carpenter. My brother was a machinist. My brother's an electrician. So very much from that world. And I was raised kind of to be a guy. Mm. And it's funny that I'm here. But life does have those unexpected twists and turns, and there's lots of lessons that I learned from where I came from of hard work, dedication, doing your best, referencing what you were just saying, that wherever you are, perform at your best level there. Yeah. And so a lot of those lessons apply, but it's just kind of some funny fodder because, like my early showers in truck stops where Dad didn't send us into the truck stop. He showered us off with the high-powered hose because you can't send your daughter in. And so the dogs would be all shaken off and, trying to just like a dog. And, it was just, just some fun, good, juicy stuff that happened. That's not everyone's experience.
So do you always see it as fun, or did you have were you telling yourself negative things about it?
Well, when I was a kid, obviously my mindset is not what it is now. Mindsets don't naturally happen. We have to work at them. So, as a kid, it was, having to set up mobile homes and doing hard manual labor may not have been my favorite thing, but I can see the life lessons in it now. But it wasn't like we had a choice. We got to paid $5 a day for food, and we'd pick the $5 once because we'd get hungry at the end of that day. Yeah. And it was just my life, just like kids growing up on a farm. It's just what you do. You just take care of the family business. I kind of am sad that as a parent that I don't have the manual labor aspect to show my children, but they do get to see the work aspect, the consistency, the accountability, having to show up every day and with a good attitude. So I have that for them, but no manual labor in their lives.
That's good. Yeah, your daughter was just practicing the piano.
Yes. In fact, when I told her we were going live, she's like, I'm done. And I'm like, after. So she's like, dang it.
So your book is Embracing Your Inner Hotness, right?
I just so happen to have a copy right here.
It's perfect.
Oh, yes.
So tell us, what is that about?
So I'm very proud. It's a self-published book. It sold almost 10,000 copies between the audio, the Kindle, and the hard copy. A lot of those, of course, have sold through my speaking. And it really connects with people. It's my story about how I went from feeling, Grandma used to tell me that I was ugly and that nobody would love me. And, it wasn't because she didn't actually like me as a person. It was just helping her perspective she wanted to be my perspective. And I think we all have people in our lives that tell us this is what you're capable of. And they may or not always be correct. And in the case of my grandmother, nobody was bribed to marry me. But I had this thinking that I was limited and not capable and rejected. And then different hard life experiences happened that reinforced that view that I was not of value. And yet my life turns out this way because of different stories that I tell throughout the book of how I became the person I am. My TEDx talk that you have up behind you encapsulates some of those stories. But that's what I speak about, is how I became what I call the rocks of hotness, what different things to put in your life to help you have an amazing, hot, vibrant life. So it's a play on being a makeup artist, being in the beauty industry, but really it's about your mindset, how you look at your life, how you start your day to create the life that you want. Because again, life just happens, but you're not going to create the life you want by accident.
The rocks of hotness. I like that.
Rocks of hotness, yes.
And what are the rocks? How do you describe them in your book?
So the analogy of hotness, there's two kinds of heat that we all put out. The kind of heat that burns like a wildfire out of control. It may get a lot of attention, but it's out of control. And in contrast to a campfire per molecule may not get the attention, but is hotter than a wildfire. And of course, we gather around campfires to feel of the warmth and the stories and the s'mores, which involve chocolate, which for women, very important to have chocolate. So there's campfires.
Good for all of us. Chocolate.
Yes. But they've actually done studies that we women need it at a certain time that happens monthly. We need those little.
What time is it?
It's like medical. It's medical. It's like a drug for us. So it's a real thing. So there's, the campfire has the rocks around it. So the different characters or rocks of hotness that you need to implement into your life that involve mindset and integrity and kindness and reaching out and service. So yeah, it's fun.
That's
and
great.
Around being called hot. I mean, what woman wouldn't want that?
Yeah, you're known as the queen of hotness, huh?
Yes. Well, and also, I am a normal woman. I have my bumps and bruises. I am not a supermodel. I've never been a beauty queen. I've done the makeup for a lot of beauty queens, but I'm just a normal woman. And I give women who look at themselves and see a normal woman to see themselves as amazing. That I am my own particular brand of hotness, and every one of us is our own particular brand of unique beauty and talents and skills.
So how do you incorporate that in your speaking when you do a keynote speech?
So I come as hotness, and I give the meeting planner the 21 different topics so they can choose underneath that umbrella of hotness, so they can choose what points and what stories that they want to get across. So if it's from grief to customer service, but it's all kind of in how we approach each other and approach life is my umbrella. So I'm not the one that's going to come in and, teach on, I don't know, mathy things or whatever, but it's how we connect with each other and ourselves is my umbrella.
So I watched the beginning of your TED Talks, which I can't play. I wish I could play a little clip of it.
It's on YouTube.
You come out in a costume. What's behind that costume? Because I didn't get past it. I don't know if you unravel it or what do you see?
Yeah, I just the whole entire time. So I have a bathrobe and curlers on, and it's just one of my little shticks of how we start our day. It's how we start everything, and most of us start it. We're like, so hard starting today, and I have to get dressed and get ready. And so we're starting our day with this attitude that's already self-defeat us. We put our makeup on, we put our clothes on to go and impress other people instead of doing that for ourselves. And my call to action in that little speech is that you start your day, that this becomes a symbol of the mental and the emotional work you've done to prepare yourself for that day. So it's not accidentally like, oh, I didn't even know today started. It's starting your day with intention and purpose and building that on top of each other. And I have different stories that build that point. You have to be intentional about what you want in your life. And that's said a lot. So I just say it. And why do we need one more, speaker that speaks upon that? Every speaker really speaks upon mindset, but I'm presenting it in my own unique fashion of humor and fun and, think about this. And I also have a pretty shocking story that people don't expect. So I'll just give it to you, Adam. Okay. So my husband was hit by a bus. Then 11 months later, he had a massive heart attack, died, came back to life. that I was in a wheelchair and then our youngest daughter died. And people were always shocked at those events, of course, but also shocked that we were happy. So I always tell people that's not the story. The story is not these events, but how we responded to them shows the skills that we had developed towards our mindset. And that was before I ever intended to be a speaker. Those things kind of propelled me, but I did not want to brand myself or necessarily always talk about grief and hardship and bad things.
Sure.
There's so much more than the events that happen to us. And so I love that I can go and speak to the youth, and I do not need to talk about my daughter that passed away. But if I'm speaking to a grief group, obviously they really enjoy hearing about that. I'm also a victim of having been sexually molested as a child, and I'm writing a book on that currently. But that, again, is not just the only thing about me. There's so much more. Sure. I want people to know that you can be happy and amazing, but you're going to have to work on yourself.
Well, so is your second book, is it fun and happy? I mean, do you put a spin on it, or is it?
I think it's going to be as fun and happy as a book.
I'm trying to make light of the situation, right? But
yeah, I think that it will be as fun and happy as that topic can be. I actually had no intention of putting that out there in the world, that that's something that happened, because I don't see myself as a victim. That's just simply what we call it. And I also don't see myself as a survivor, because I feel like a survivor is someone that's like, I'm hungry, I'm thirsty. This is something that is so far back here in the past of my life that it's not in my day-to-day living anymore. I have the wisdom and empathy and kindness that come from it that actually enrich my life in a lot of ways. And I want to put that out there as an example to those who have experienced that as well, that there's something better than anger as an end destination, because it looks like this happens and then you're going to be anger, man-hating or woman-hating, whatever the case may be. But there's so much more than that. That's an event. We can't let one thing wreck our lives.
Sure,
and
we can.
People can, but why would I give the person that abused me that much power over my life? They already took those years. Why would I give them more? And that's not out of vindictiveness. It's just a simple question. Why would I give someone who did not value me, did not care about me, and was selfish that much power to control the rest of my life? Why would I do that? So I actually have come out with it because of the Me Too movement and seeing the anger that our society has had. That is not a destination. So I invite people to come join me in Happy Town. So it'll be fun as you can on the topic, but probably not as much fun as my first book, How to Embrace Your Hotness.
Yeah. Did that, I'm assuming that experience came from, that experience helped you write your first book.
Yeah, I reference that in one paragraph, but again, it wasn't intentional that I was going to do that, but it was something that I made a post on Facebook, and within 12 hours I had a book deal. So I felt that it was right and it was good, and that was something worth really speaking up about, that we need to provide to those who have experienced that. You know, it's like any hard thing that happens. When it happens to you, you're looking around going, okay, what's the end result of this? We need examples. We need hope. Hope is the highest resonant emotion that we can have, and shame being the lowest. And if you've gone through something that's such a shameful experience, you need the opposite. And the opposite is out there. You can live a full and great life. So that's why I'm speaking up about it. Not because that's my only thing. That's not the most important thing about me. My attitude is the most important thing about me. What I choose to do every day, that's the most important thing about me. Who I prioritize. And I don't prioritize trespassers and abusers.
Mm. Yeah.
That's my nutshell on that.
I don't know what to say about that. That's great. I mean, the only thing I can relate to is I remember my mom dragging me by my hair so she could find her slippers so she could beat me better with them, right? Because I got a C on my report card. Now, for me, I didn't do any better started doing worse on my education. But it's also taught me, like, I mean, for me, it's my mother, so it's like, for me, it's like, well, that happened, and now you need my help because you're sick, right? And she just went to the hospital last Friday, for example.
Yeah.
And sugar levels were high, and I took care of her, and I hold her down so they could draw blood because she was having a panic attack. But, I mean, I guess in the way what you're saying is that happened, and I could choose it to dictate my rest of my life. I would treat her people, or I could be who I want to be.
Well, in my book, How to Embrace Your Hotness, I talk about how my grandmother's perception of reality, that a girl that has big bones and brown hair and what she described as an awkward personality, because I talk and I wasn't very demure, that she had a very narrow category of what could happen. Now, your mother probably only had a certain skill set of how to deal with a disappointment in her child. So she accessed shame, probably because she had been shamed. And we tend to, I had this great analogy that I share. It's called the deck of cards. We all have a hand of cards that are given in life, right? Mm-hmm. And, just like we're playing Uno or poker or whatever analogy you're comfortable with, we're given our hand. And you don't get to choose what's in that hand. But following the game of life, during the game, the rules, we have to systematically replace those cards to get a winning hand. Mm-hmm. And you can't just say, oh, I'm not going to play and throw your cards down, because life will force you to play. Your turn will come. You will have to pick up your hand. And so you have to systematically say, okay, so are you a parent, Adam?
No.
Okay, so obviously when you become a parent, you may not want to think, oh, C+, kid gets C+, beat with slipper as good sturdy slipper, right? You might want to look at a different skill set. So as you look around in your life, you're going to note, oh, they didn't beat their child. Maybe I should go talk to them about their parenting strategies and the why and the how behind what they're doing, so that I can systematically replace that shame card. Mm-hmm. But we have to get very fine-tuned about what it is that we want to change. Otherwise, we fall back into those patterns that I call the language of dysfunction, that we speak it fluently because we were raised in it. But people learn different languages all the time. Mm-hmm. And I don't think there's any greater success that I am more proud of than my little people that are in the other room trying to be quiet while I do this, and who they're becoming. That is the best.
That's great. You, how many little people do you have?
I have 3 little people. My youngest passed away, so I have 2 that I'm still taking care of. I'm 15 and almost 13, boy and a girl. And my son is 6 foot, and he's 15. It's very alarming. And my daughter, who's almost 13, is not at all interested in boys. And that's just about as perfect as you can get. She's not boy crazy, and I'm hoping that sticks.
She's 13?
She's turning 13 into this month. And if I say 12, we could get a child bursting in here going, I'm almost 13. So
it's so funny how we are when you're younger. You're like going for the age, but then as you get older, you're like, it's okay. No, we can stop. We can stop from here.
I like aging because at a certain point in my life, I embrace this happy person. Mm-hmm. And people have an assumption about happy people that nothing bad's ever happened to us. That's why we're still happy. Mm-hmm. And I love that I'm getting a little bit older. People assume that maybe I've had some life experiences. And I've always just kind of laughed at that because I've had some pretty hard life experiences. But I am thankful for them because they've made me me. Every hard thing we go through helps us develop our empathy. And that's how we connect in meaningful ways with other people. So those are all good experiences if you look at them from the bird's eye view, the bird's eye perspective, that they can teach you something. And no matter if you caused it or somebody else caused it, there's still a lesson in there. And instead of just accessing shame and blame, let's figure out what we can learn.
Yeah, there's always a lesson if you pay attention, I feel like.
Absolutely. And that's how to live a hot life.
Yeah. I had a guest cancel being on the show, and I was thinking about canceling someone I didn't want on the show. And at that moment, I realized, I've never really got along with that one person, but I want to cancel the other show because I don't get along with that person, right? And it made me think, like, I'm not saying I don't like you, of course.
I wasn't taking it personally.
Yeah, it doesn't matter who I have on the show. I don't have to be, it doesn't matter, right? I don't have to like or not like someone being on the show, but that just adding to that conversation.
I think that if you talk to anyone long enough, you'll find something you respect about most people. Mm-hmm. And I always tell my kids, don't pick your friends because they believe just like you or just the same as you. Pick your friends among people who say that what they are is what they are, and they live up to that. So if, that they're people of integrity and character. So it doesn't matter if their lifestyle is the same. It matters if they say they're going to do it and they do it. That's going to be a person of a character and integrity. It's going to go places in life. But the person who's always like, well, they made me and it's their fault, I give you permission to cut those people out too. So,
so you said that you imagine doing a makeover till I'm so old and shaky that women say, I'll apply that myself.
Yes.
What does that look like for you? What does that mean?
Like behind me is my little makeup studio in my office here.
Yeah.
But I love there are not so many things in the world other than being like a dentist and, these kinds of things that were right in someone's face. Mm. You're right there in their face. And you get past that little personal space bubble and you really it's kind of a vulnerable, amazing thing to be that close to someone else. And I love the one-on-one connection. One, I'm giving them a useful skill when I teach them how to put their makeup on. My specialty is, the maturing faces, how to make them look better and, enhance them. And makeup's kind of a silly thing, but we got to do it, right? Well, we women do, and some select men, right? But we have to kind of know these things. And so I love just here's the rules, making it really simple, here for your face, and you're done and you're good. But that's an instrument that I'm using to do what I really love, and that's connecting with individuals one-on-one. And people have always asked me, well, how do you become such a personable speaker? Because when I speak, I'm kind of like how I am in person, and I'm relatable, and people like me. And they feel like they're my friend, and they're like, how are you so good at that? And I'm like, because I am the friend of people. I really do love people. And if you can't be good with the one, you can't be good with a whole big group. It's a skill set going from connecting with people on a one-on-one basis. And, spiritually, Christ ministered to the one. And I love that whole thing that we individually, if you want to call it ministering or connection or residence, whatever, that we have an opportunity every time we're with someone else to connect with them in a meaningful way.
Well, that's great. It's one of the reasons why I do the show. Really is that we didn't talk about the other part of it is the value it gives people, right? Mm-hmm. I've done maybe 800, 900 selfie, motivational, health, insight videos. And this was kind of an expansion of that. I didn't expect it to take such a life of its own. Like I said, it's a project, right?
Yeah. A lot of work.
Whenever you go, I think I'll do this for my business. Remember, that's a project.
And you gotta be committed to it.
Yeah, exactly. Which I have been, and it's been great. I love what comes out of it.
And there's the 80% that you should love, the 20% that you have to do because you just have to do admin stuff. Like I have to reply to my emails, even though it may not get me really excited. But we should live in our passion. We should live what we're excited about, and we also just look and make sure we're making money, and that's okay too.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. For sure. Even if you live in a cabin somewhere, you still need money.
We still have to be contributing members of society, and they still want bills. Unless you live in a cabin, then I guess you're off the grid.
Yeah, but you had to get off the grid, right?
Yeah, you had to get off the grid somehow. So that's a whole other podcast.
Yeah, it is. So what are some of the key things people can do now to embrace their inner hotness?
Well, first of all, to not live in if-then thinking. So if this happens, then. If this happens, then. One of the gifts, since I've already mentioned it, of losing a child, and I say that with, is that I know there'll never be a perfect time in my life. That will always hurt that I have lost that child. It will always hurt. But that does not mean So the if then thinking is, if I do this, then I'll be happy. If I do this, then I'll be successful. That we have the opportunity in every single day, in every single moment, to choose the emotion that we want to feed. And I say that because feelings don't usually come to help us. We have feelings that are all over the map. But which ones are we going to feed? Which ones are we going to focus on? Which ones are we going to work on growing? Or are we just, little bouncy balls going around in life trying to figure things out? So that's my first challenge is, don't be like, oh, well, once I make this much money, then I'll be happy. Oh, once I'm dating this person, then I'll be successful, whatever. Now, this moment, right now, give yourself permission to live your life the way that you would want to live it, by how you treat other people, by how you treat yourself. Be nice to you. And anything you put in you is going to come out. It's going to come out in how you treat others. And yeah, sorry, I just get talking.
You're on the show to talk. Please do.
That also, in this if-then thinking that we get in this concept of about we have to take care of ourselves. But the number one way that every single philosophy, every self-help group, every religion will tell you is to go and serve, to go do things for other people. And if you're feeling sad or depressed, if you have anxiety, you know what? Who doesn't? Everybody has something that makes them sad. Yeah. Everybody does. If it's chemical or situational, the solution is the same. We have to get outside of ourselves and we have to go and help others. And if we do that enough, it will become a habit. If it becomes a habit, it'll become a way of living. And when it becomes a way of life, that's just when you are a happy person by habit. So start with your attitude, how you start the day. And I always tell people to get dressed and ready, because of course, as a makeup artist, get dressed and ready with an attitude of giving and love and taking care of yourself. Don't talk about, oh, I'm fat, I'm wrinkled, I'm ugly, I look bad. Those are all shame emotions that do not need to be fed. Focus on what your contribution is going to be in that day, what skills you're going to be enhancing. And I always envision the people that I'm going to be connecting with that day. And I see their face and I'm like, I'm going to be awesome. And giving my family my very best.
That's great. Do you ever get sad? Of
course. Yeah. If only people that don't get sad are people that are on drugs, and then they're sad when they lose drugs, but they're really happy while they have the drug. Yeah. I have every single emotion that anyone else would have. Mm-hmm. I just don't feed those emotions. I don't sit there and chew on them and savor them and think about how I ask every thought that comes into my head, every emotion, is this serving me? Mm-hmm. And because, like I said, I buried a child, there are times that I have to just sit with that. Yeah. And that serves me to sit with that, but I do not stay there. One of the best things I ever did after my daughter died was get up and go forward. And it took 4 years where getting up became before I felt like it was a habit. I would check in every year on her birthday, and I was like, okay, I finally got this. 4 years. Hard work. But my children will describe that time as a happy time.
Good.
And it's not worth, their sister's death is not worth ruining their life over it and their memories. And I'm assuming your mom didn't just get upset about C+ grades, that the impacts that our parents have upon us, it's worth doing the work on ourselves so that we can go and give the best to those we love. And my children will do better than I have. And that's the goal.
Yeah, I never thought about that, actually.
Well, I'm glad I can trigger deep emotions in there.
My mom has a mental illness, so I always attribute to that, but never thought about what attachment she had to the grade.
Yeah. Well, and within all of us is anxiety and depression and mental illness and sadness and anger and hurt. But just because those preconditions are there, and depression is rampant in my family. Eating disorders are rampant in my mom's side of the family. It's like the way of life, being negative, being critical. But that was a language I was taught. I get to learn a different language. I get to study a different language, and I have studied a different language, taking the best from my native language from my native tongue, to use our analogy. There are wonderful things that my mom improved upon her mom. And I'm sure there are things that my grandmother improved upon her mother. But I get to look at all of those things and say, okay, what honors me? What serves me? What is a part of my life that I want now? And I do not want to give my kids certain experiences, and I want to give them some of the same experiences that I received. And even if it's not about being a parent, it's just about the way I want to live my life, just for me. If I was all alone in our cabin somewhere that we're talking about, you can't run away from you. You go with everywhere you go. And I tried that. I ran away to Alaska as a 20-year-old, 19-year-old. And the problem is I wasn't far enough. I came with me.
No.
And I had to work on me in order to have anywhere I go now is a great place. Because I have figured out how to work with Leta, and I like Leta. And all of those hard experiences have helped me refine how I approach each moment, how I approach each day.
Yeah. Well, that's great. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Of course.
Goes by fast, right? Sometimes it goes by fast.
It does. And I have so much more I could say, but I guess that's what happens. You get authors and speakers. They can just keep talking.
Talk, right? They get paid for it, right?
Yeah, but this was great. This was just fun.
You had, what was it? You said it very cute. You said you had, then was it? Something about a special secret code?
A special secret code. Well, you were asking me what was going to be the
Yeah.
gift. Yeah.
Services and products, UltraLife as a UltraLife as a super secret code. So
what did I promise them again?
What's that?
What did I say that I would give?
A discount for services and products if they use the UltraLife super secret code.
Yes, because you guys are like, you can make a landing page. I don't really do landing pages, right? So if someone contacts me,
sorry,
it's not my genius. I stay in my genius. If somebody would like to get a discount on my book or my makeup products that I do or attend some of my workshops, just want to reach out to me. I'll give a 10% discount off of any of those things. Just have to use the super secret code and say the UltraLife. I'm old school. You got to call me or email me or something like that. Facebook message me. Yeah.
Well, that's not old school. That's kind of old school now, huh?
I guess it is because I like connection. I like connecting with people and talking to them and connecting.
Great. Well, thank you so much for being on the show, and thank you for what you're doing with people, and good luck with your next book.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you for handling the blows I gave you there.
No problem. Do you have a name for it yet, or you don't have a name for that one yet?
I do. It's called Love Me Too.
Love Me Too. Well, that's cool.
Yeah.
Your current book is?
How to Embrace Your Inner Hotness, and they can get it on my website. And if they want to get a discount, you can, message me. Leta, if you know how to spell my name, you can find me. Having a unique name makes me pretty easy to find. Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah.
If they can spell it, because people can't spell my last name, I just say go to the UltraPerform show on iTunes.
Okay.
What was I going to ask you? The show products. Where can they buy it? What's your website?
So my website is LetaGreene.com. So Leta, green like the color with an E on the end.com.
Great. Yeah. Well, you can reach her for a discount. She'll hook you up. Thank you so much for being on, and thank you for watching and listening to the UltraPerform show, the show about performing your best in business and life. Watch us weekdays at 5 o'clock. See you later. See ya.
Okay, bye. Thanks, Adam.
Bye.